Imagine waking up 6 million years ago. No walls, no roof, no fire to push back the dark, no tools to defend yourself, no words to call for help. You open your eyes in the branches of a thorn tree. Your back is stiff. Your hands are raw from gripping the bark all night. The sky is still gray. Somewhere below, in the high grass, something is breathing. And you are not at the top of the food chain. You are in the middle of it. This is the world that made us, long before we were us. These were the first ancestors of humanity. Not yet hunters. Not yet builders. Not yet speakers. They were small upright apes, about the height of a child today, covered in coarse dark fur, with weathered dark skin, deep-set eyes under heavy brows, and hands that still climbed as well as they walked. They had no fire. They had no shelter. They had no mercy from the world they were born into. And yet, somehow, they survived long enough to leave us behind. The day did not begin with breakfast. It began with a calculation. Where was the wind blowing? Where had the lions been heard the night before? Was the clan still complete? Sometimes it was not. Sometimes a member of the group simply did not come back from the dark. There was no funeral. There was no time for mourning the way we know it. There was only the next sunrise, and the same sequence of impossible problems waiting again. Thirst, heat, hunger, predators, storm, cold, darkness. Repeat. Water was the first enemy. The body needs it before food, before sleep, before company. But water in this world was a trap. Every river edge, every muddy hole, every rare puddle was claimed by something with teeth. Crocodiles waited beneath the surface for a careless mouth. The clan had to drink fast, drink shallow, and never drink alone. A single moment of distraction at the water meant a sudden surge, a clamp, and a dragging into the dark. Most of us, today, have never had to look at a glass of water and wonder if it would kill us. They did. Every day. By midday, the savannah burned. The grass turned to gold under a sky the color of fire. The sun did not feel warm. It pressed down. Bare skin blistered. Tongues swelled. Eyes squinted against the white glare. There was no roof to step under, no door to close, no cool tile floor to lie on, no glass of cold water to grab from a fridge. There was only the thin shade of a single acacia tree, where the clan huddled together and waited for the world to soften enough to walk through it again. Vultures circled above, patient teachers of a brutal lesson. Hunger came every day. There were no fields, no gardens, no stored food, no shops, no fires to cook. Every meal had to be wrestled out of the land with bare hands. They ate what they could reach. Bitter half-ripe fruit pulled from high branches. Hard tubers dug out of cracked earth. Raw insects pried from under bark. Eggs stolen from nests. Sometimes the leftover carcass of a kill that bigger predators had abandoned. Every minute spent at it a gamble that those bigger predators would not come back. Thorns tore their palms. Acid sap blistered their tongues. Sometimes the food fought back. And then there were the eyes. Always the eyes. The saber-tooth crouched low in the grass, its golden coat blending with the dry stems. The giant eagle watched from a thermal high above, large enough to lift a small ape from the ground. The leopard-like cat moved at twilight. The python coiled in the riverbank shadow. Hyena ancestors waited in packs at dusk. To live one more day was to outrun, outclimb, or outlast every one of them. Most days they did. Some days they did not. There was no second chance. The land kept no record of their losses. Only their bones, sometimes in the dust. When the sky turned black at noon and the wind began to scream, there was nowhere to run. The clan had no walls to stop the rain. They had no roof to stop the lightning. They pressed together under whatever bush or tree leaned thickest, and they hoped the storm would not strike them where they stood. Soaked, shivering, bare wet skin in the cold rain, with no fire to dry beside afterward. The kind of cold that we, in our heated houses, will never truly understand. The kind of cold that picked off the weakest of them while the strongest watched and remembered. And then night fell. The worst part of every day. Try, for one moment, to imagine that. No fire. No flame to push back the dark. No warmth to ease the cold. No light to see what was approaching. Predators do not need eyes the way we do. They hear. They smell. They wait. The clan climbed into the highest branches they could find, and they held on, awake, listening to the things that hunted in the dark below them. Sleep came in pieces, never deep, never safe. Sometimes a sound rose in the distance. A sudden cry, broken in half. Then silence. The next morning, someone would not climb down with the rest. This was not an adventure. There was no triumph in it. There was no comfort. Every breath was earned. Every meal was a risk. Every night was a held breath until morning. They had no fire. They had no shelter. They had no mercy from the land, from the sky, from the predators, or from each other when food ran low. And yet, against everything, they survived. Long enough to leave us. Long enough that one day, somewhere down the long slow line of their descendants, somebody learned to strike a stone against a stone and pull a spark out of the dark. Long enough that another would learn to wrap a hide around a sleeping body in the cold. Long enough that another would learn to dig a pit, to gather a roof of branches, to push back the eyes in the night with a single trembling flame. Long enough that a great line of survivors would build the world you are sitting inside right now, with its walls, its locks, its lights, its running water, its food on shelves, its forgotten miracles in every direction. We do not remember them, because they could not write. But every one of us is their reply. So look around you. The roof above your head. The walls. The light you can switch on with one finger. The water you can drink without watching for teeth in the surface. The food you did not have to wrestle out of the soil with bleeding hands. The night you can sleep through without listening for breathing in the dark below your bed. All of that, every comfort you no longer even notice, exists because somewhere, 6 million years ago, a small upright ape with no fire, no shelter, and no mercy refused to stop. Refused to lie down in the dust. Refused to give up on the next sunrise, even though the sunrise promised the same battle again. Could you have done what they did? Most of us, honestly, would not have lasted a single afternoon. Without a bottle of water at hand, we would already be staggering. Without a building to step into, we would already be cooked alive in the open sun. Without a weapon, we would already be prey, easy meat for anything bigger and faster than us. Without a fire, we would already be cold the moment the sky changed. Without a clan, we would already be alone in the dark, listening to our own breathing get shorter and shorter. The truth is that the people who survived 6 million years ago were tougher than almost any of us alive today, in ways we have made ourselves forget. They had to be. There was no choice. The world was not built for them. It was built against them. And still, somehow, with no fire and no shelter and no mercy, they built us out of nothing, in the worst conditions any creature has ever faced and survived. And that is the most miraculous, the most underappreciated, the most beautiful survival story in the history of life on this planet. So the next time you turn on a light, or close a door against the cold, or take a sip of clean water without thinking about it, remember the small upright ape, 6 million years ago, in the high branches of a thorn tree, looking down at the eyes in the dark and refusing to stop. You are still alive because they did not. That is the only reason, and it is enough.